remember that, so there's a little gap. You
Okay.
want to check it out and see if that's
Yeah.
okay?
Oh, that's really close. Okay.
Yeah.
It's really close.
Okay. Murray State, right?
Yes.
You just finished your sophomore year?
Yeah, no, I'm going to be a senior.
Just finished your junior year.
Yes.
You'll be a senior.
I'm going to be a senior social work major.
Senior so, and you have added in nonprofit governance.
I haven't because they told me
Okay.
that the experience I'm getting here is more than my degree. So, thanks for that. You're stating in my
Sorry.
No, no, that's great.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, no, that's a great thing.
Okay.
Are you going to mention the Facebook group? Or
No, I'll let you do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll brag on myself and then.
Okay.
Okay, do I
Huh?
let me just chill
Just
here?
chill. There's so many people out there that I need to get in here.
Okay.
Um,
I've never done this before,
yeah,
so
just,
just awkward.
yeah, just have a seat, relax. Okay.
No, I'm good.
We need some herding going on.
Oh, some hurting.
Yeah. I'm in a herd.
Oh, you go herd.
A lot of people have left.
Yeah.
Crazy. That time. Oh, there it is. It's so weird to be the tall one.
Yeah, I don't know what that's like.
Yeah, it's weird. Okay, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for sticking around. Before we proceed on to our exciting keynote address, just a couple of things. I wanted to just call out, we are, as the Alliance, are putting a call out for volunteers. Woohoo. We have so many exciting things going on at the Alliance, it's more than we can do. So we have a sign-up sheet at the registration table. If you are interested in volunteering and have some special skills, we would love to put them to work for our community. And we're also, if you're interested in possibly joining our board of directors, find me at lunch and I'll tell you a little bit more about it. It's not as scary as you think. We have a really good time and it's very empowering and really, as I stand up here and look at everyone, it's really fills the heart. And there's some information on your tables as well. A couple of surveys. If you can complete those, it really helps us help you. And the registry as well. If you haven't participated in the registry, it's really important. So please take that piece of paper home. It's one thing you can do to make sure that we're serving you the best we possibly can. In the meantime, we have here, we added to our board this last year a junior board member position. This was in honor of Elena Hahn. She always wanted to be a board member. And so in her honor, we created a junior board member position. And this is for an 18 to 24-year-old who is interested in learning more about what it's like to be on a board of directors. It's a one-year term. Anna is about to come up. And we have asked her to apply for full board membership. So we're really excited to have her become a full board member starting in August. So if anyone's interested and is 18 to 24 is interested in becoming our next junior board member, they can also come talk to me. As Anna is a soon-to-be senior at Murray State in Kentucky. She's studying social work, and she is going to be an amazing advocate for our community, and she's here to give our keynote address this morning.
Junior board member sounds really important. um, so a little bit about me. You may have seen me running around with the really loud and slightly obnoxious young adults that are here. Last year, I created a young adults Facebook group for teens and young adults who are going through although fun, it is also torturing transition that happens in high school, college, technical school, whatever you may do. And so after Elena passed away, there was a number of young adults who were struggling quite a bit in dealing with her passing and just dealing with life with the disease. And so as great as it sounds that I created it, it was also very selfish. I wanted it for myself as well. I wanted that support network. And so we currently have 30 members in our young adults group. We added 4 new ones this weekend, so those loud, obnoxious kids, they're part of it now. And we have 8 countries represented. We added an Australian, super pumped about that. And we have someone in Ireland, we have one in Guatemala, India, all over the place. You name it, and we've got them. So today I was asked to talk to you about hope. And for most of this message, it's going to be directed to the ALGS warriors with the disease. And that's not against caregivers, siblings of, or anything. But most of it's going to be directed towards them, but you're going to get something out of it too, because, I mean, we're awesome. So, let me get my notes out. That might help. So, despite how much I've done with the Alliance and how much I do in my own life, I still struggle. I have and still do struggle in my journey with ALGS. And those who know me know that I very, very rarely talk about my struggle. I try to be a positive person, but as we all know, it's our reality, and with it comes a lot of obstacles. I have been bullied. I have heard every short joke in the book. Seriously, you name it, I've heard it. It is now a challenge when people try to tease me. I like to inform them that if they're going to tease me, they're going to have to be more creative, and that's a challenge. I have been called a freak and a weirdo while I was growing up, which also comes with a funny story, because my sister, who is 14 months older than me, one of my sisters, she heard about it when I came home crying, and her and my dad, they were not so thrilled and probably handled it in a rather unorthodox way. All of you who know, you're very protective of your warriors, and so are mine. And I remember that they got home, my dad was like, "This is not okay. You're gonna go talk to this girl, and you're not gonna go to the office, you're just gonna go tell her, blah, blah, blah." Now, image. My sister, who's 14 months older than me, looks like she's 10 years older than me, because I'm rather small. So, and at the time, she had her growth spurt early, so she was the tallest 7th grader girl. She was rather terrifying if she got angry. And so I'm in class one day, sitting next to the person who called me a freak, and my sister comes in. And I'm like, "What are you doing here? Get out." She's like, "Oh, I need to talk to so-and-so," and brings the girl out into the hallway. And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, she's gonna beat her up. This is so bad. Oh my gosh, like, this is about me. What have I done?" And so I go, the little girl comes in with this terrified look on her face, right? Like, girl saw a ghost. And she comes in, it was winter, so I was wearing a coat, and she goes, "I really like your coat," and sat down. And I was like, what did she do to this girl? Oh my gosh, what happened? So all day long, I have all these people who are like, "Hey, Anna, how are you doing?" And I'm like, did she threaten everyone? What has she done? Like, everyone's gonna fear for their life. And so I'm just wanting to get home and be like, "What have you done? What are you doing?" And so I get home, and she explains to me that instead of calling the girl out individually, she told her that if her or any of her friends were to call me a name, or anyone else for that matter, that she would handle it in a much more physical manner. So that happened. And my dad was like, "Yeah, that's right." And of course, he was still angry. He's like, "I mean, you could have punched her, but I mean, I guess that's okay too." You know, my mom was like, "Oh, all right, thank you for not punching anyone." And, you know, although it's a really, really funny story, and now I laugh about it, at the time, it was incredibly difficult. When you are raised and you have your siblings and they don't see you as different. They see you as their sister. who happens to be small and really awesome, and and who gets out of doing the chores when she itches. Sometimes it's very convenient, you know. But, you know, it hurts everyone when your warrior is hurt. And, of course, it hurts us the most. It's very easy to get consumed by names and children who simply don't understand. They don't mean to be cruel. They simply don't understand. So I've been bullied. I have felt the stares that come from itching in public, which are super fun. And as all of you warriors know, when you are itching in public, the rare times that you allow yourself to do that, you then feel the stares. You don't see them, you feel them, and then you find them. And then this makes you anxious or angry. Once I got older, I got angry, but you know, for a while there, I was just anxious. But when you get anxious or angry, you start to itch more, which makes you more anxious and more angry. And it becomes this really vicious cycle that is nearly impossible to break. And that is something we deal with on a daily basis. You can't be in your home all the time. You can't be with your family, who knows? And it's not fun. Also, for those older adults and young teens, and the younger ones too, but I have felt the exhaustion that cannot be described when you go to bed early, you're proud of yourself, you went to bed before midnight, and you wake up physically exhausted because you spent the entire night itching in your sleep. And it is one of the most frustrating things because you actually stopped your social life to go to bed early, and then you woke up exhausted, which is really fun when you're in finals week and you need sleep and you want to pass your test. And so that's, you know, we deal with that. I would like to tell you that it gets easier, but we're not here to sugarcoat things. We're not here to tell you that, you know, everything's going to be okay. You're going to get better tomorrow. So it does stink. I understand. Oh, my bad. Mine's not working. There we go. Okay, sorry about that. So I have also dealt with the anxiety and fear that comes with doctor's appointments that cannot be described to anyone outside of this community. Especially when you get older. I know you parents, you deal with it for us when we're infants and when we're young and we don't understand what's going on. You deal with it then. And then as we get older, I'd love to say like, oh, it's a piece of cake, we live with it, so it's super easy. It's not. We deal with it every time. It is something that I get sick to my stomach just thinking about going to the doctor. Because when you go to the doctor, you can no longer act like you're normal. You can no longer act like you're super healthy and like all your friends. You have to face the reality of your condition, no matter the severity, it's there in your face. You have to deal with, you know, the possibility that it's either going to be a good appointment, it's going to be a bad one. There's never really one in between for us. I remember when I went to my first appointment and paid attention. And it was absolutely terrifying. And it wasn't a bad appointment. It wasn't. It was actually a pretty good appointment. But I listened. And I remember my doctor, I was doing great. My labs came back really well. And my liver had stabilized. Like, I'm really blessed in my condition. But then he goes, so now we're going to watch your kidneys. And that doesn't sound like a scary thing until the first thought in my head was, oh, I'm going to lose some more. All right, let's add it to the list. And that was terrifying because that's all he could say. All he could tell me was, all right, we got to start watching for your kidneys. And that was it. And I remember it gave me a new respect for what you parents do and what you have dealt with for years. And that, especially those of you who have older kids like me, when there wasn't information and there wasn't this amazing organization, you know, I can't imagine what Cindy and them did when Elena was first diagnosed. Like, how awesome is this that we are able to be here? Because I remember in that moment, I felt so alone. And my mom was right beside me. She was right there. But I just remember feeling this, you know, I couldn't go to my best friend who was healthy and be like, oh, I went to the doctor. You know, I mean, it went really well. Like, all my labs came out great, but watch out for my kidneys now. She'd be like, your kidneys. I don't go to the doctor, like, unless I'm sick. I'm like, oh, well, that's nice. It's great for you. But I think that that's the biggest hardship that we face, and I think is the unknown factor of this disease. No one likes to not know. We all, like, especially those control freaks like me, we like to know what's going to happen. We like to control it as much as we can, and with this disease, there is really no control. And remember the first time that I began dealing with that factor. I was in middle school, and my mom was pregnant with my little brother Daniel, and my oldest sister she's in her senior year of high school and getting ready for college. And I remember I was with my friends, and when you're in middle school and you talk about like, oh, I'm gonna go to college, I'm gonna have this big family, it's gonna be awesome. And I remember that was the first time that I thought, that might not be for me. That's a question. I don't know if I'm gonna get the big, loud Catholic family that I'm in right now, I don't know if I'm gonna get to have that. And as a middle schooler, you're not supposed to think about stuff like that. You're supposed to worry about painting your nails and the slap bracelets. At least that's what happened when I was in middle school. And, I still battle these obstacles. I'm not gonna stand here and tell you that, oh, well, I'm good now, like I always look on the positive side, it's all good. It's not. There are a lot better days. There are. But I battle these every day when you're surrounded by normal people who are healthy and just planning their lives carefree. But, as awful, I'm going to stop being negative now. Don't worry, guys. We're gonna get the hope up here. But as awful as all those things have been, I have learned something. I have learned that I have gained tools and characteristics and aspects of myself that I would not have gained otherwise, and that most people my age, and most adults even, never truly possess. People go to school to learn some of the things that we know, that some of these warriors deal with, and that some of these warriors know, what you parents are able to do and what you have. So we're going to hit on some of those tools. Now, I know you all have seen the younger kids in here, and last night when they were dancing and having a great time, and I feel like it's much easier to see those tools in them, the characteristics at least, that resilience and that happiness, despite the fact that they're itching all over. They have a big old smile on their face because there's a dance floor and there's balloons. Like, they may be itching, but by gosh, they're still 5. And it's so great to see that. I mean, how many, young kids like that do you see that can come into a big group of kids with a variety of symptoms and just be friends and just play? There's no judgment, there's no name calling, there's no bullying. And that's because of not only this disease, but because of you parents and our support systems. You guys raise us and help us see ourselves and not know that, oh, I'm Alagille syndrome, I am the disease. No, you're a 5-year-old kid and you want pizza and ice cream, mostly ice cream, all the time. So I just think, and some of the other aspects, and I know this one is gonna hit close to home, is the creative ways that we find to itch. So I was doing an activity with some of the kids with the disease yesterday, and I was Dr. Alagille for a minute in a lab coat and that was fun. And so if you hear your kids calling me Dr. Alagille, that's why. That's not my name, for the record. I don't think I know as much as he did, so please don't think that. And I remember I was talking to the kids, and I said, well, what are some funny ways that you itch? And I mean, all the hands went up, all of them, every single one. And one kid goes, well, my mom scratches my back for me. I was like, your mama want to walk with me around? Like, she want to walk around with me and scratch my back? Like, when I'm on college campus and it's hot outside, like, if she could just follow me around. So I made that joke. And then one of the little girls proceeded to follow me around and scratch my back. I was a little worried about child labor laws at that point. I was like, we should stop this right now. And then I had some kids who, have seen the Jungle Book. They're like Baloo the bear. They scratch their back on any post, walls, tree trunks, all kinds of stuff. And so we're rather creative. We're a rather creative bunch. We adapt pretty easily, I'd like to think. I'm too short, as you might tell. There's a stool here. But by gosh, it's not going to stop me. I'm going to get up wherever I'm trying to get up. You should see me in the grocery store. It's quite humorous. It's not how I broke my foot, though, so don't think it's that. Also, especially with kids, we find ways to participate in things that we are told we can't. For example, I have three older siblings, and they all played soccer. Every last one of them played soccer. You know what I can't play? Soccer. So, much to my dismay, I was dragged to every soccer game. Now, not just rec. They did competitive. They did traveling. They did indoor. Why? Why is there indoor soccer? Needless to say, I'm not a fan of soccer, in case you couldn't tell. But I wanted to play soccer. I wanted to so bad, just like my older siblings. It's all I wanted to do. Well, obviously, I also didn't want to wear the helmet and go out in the soccer field and run around. So I became soccer sis. And I had my own jersey, and on the back it said "Little Soccer Sis." And by gosh, if I'm not the best cheerleader, let me tell you something. I was on my mom's shoulders because she was coaching. I'd be on her shoulders and she'd be running around. I'd just be hopping up and down and yelling. I had a very good understanding of soccer at a young age because I heard all of it. I heard her yell plays. I understand it, and yet I still hate it, just for the record. Hate soccer. But now that I'm older, you also have other experiences that are advantages. Now that I'm in college, I'm much more open with my disease now. And so when I have a group of friends and one of them had to go to the ER one night, and so I was with them, and they're like, all right, I think we need to take her to the emergency room. I'm like, all right, here we go. We need snacks, we need phone chargers, we need a notepad and pen, we need to get a bag in case we need to stay the night, and they all just stop and look at me. And I'm like, guys, you don't even know. I got this covered. I'm a mama y'all real good. Here we go. They looked at me like I was nuts, but you know what happened? We got to the emergency room, and this doctor, like doctors do, doctors that are not pediatricians, I might add, started spilling out all of these terms and all of these things, and they're just like, oh my God, we're in the hospital. There's tubes and needles. I'm like, that's my life. I got this, guys. We're going to be fine. I've got my notepad out. My mama would have been real proud. I was my mother in that moment. I was Colette Laurent. I had my pen. I was writing it down. He came back in and he was like, all right, so here's what we gave you here's what we're giving you. He's about to put this stuff in there. I'm like, whoa, stop, sir. What is that? What you doing? He's like, I'm going to give this to her. And I was like, well, what is it? I need to know what you're doing to her. We need to write this down. I need to know how much. I need to know how long she's going to be taking that. What are the side effects? Can she eat? That's important, guys. We like to eat, okay? We want to know when we can eat because we don't like waiting. Then he comes in with the medication for when she's supposed to take it afterwards. And he's like, all right, well, here's your prescriptions, and you're going to go and refill them. I was like, whoa. This guy did not like me, in case you couldn't tell. I was really needy. I was like, okay, so what are the side effects? What should we expect to have happen? And he's like, so he tells me, and I'm like, all right, so if this does happen, how quick do we need to get back here? And he just looks at me. He's like, how old are you? And I'm like, sir, let me tell you, I'm an expert. I know what I'm doing in here. And I remember my friends were just in shock. They had no idea. They knew that I had this disease. They knew that I went to the doctor. They had no idea that Mama Anna was going to come out and take care of them. And so even though I'm adult, and that's come in handy, I also saw your younger kids. You may not know this. Your younger kids know step by step how to get blood drawn. They were telling Anna Chow how to do it while she was trying to tell them. In fact, when she forgot to clean the area, they corrected her. You should have seen the counselors' faces. They were like, what? What? It's like, oh, girl, they know. I was like, they're mini experts. They know what's going on. This ain't their first rodeo. Like, that might be a doll, but like, they know what it's like. They got this. And that's with younger kids. And although, like, I know you guys hate to see them get these blood draws and they don't like them, obviously, but they're learning things. They learn coping skills. They learn how to go into a doctor's office and not completely lose their mind. Now, they might when they get older at first, because we don't like doing it on our own, but they learn things. They're not judgmental. Your kids don't judge. Your kids are great. And it's because we're warriors. We learn these things. Gonna give you a little throwback. So, back in the day, when I was much shorter, yes, I was shorter. I was not gonna put a picture up there that showed you, because my little brother is now my height, and he would enjoy that too much. So when I was growing up, I did karate. That was what I could do. That was my sport. I kicked butt, in case you were wondering. You can't tell from that picture. So I did karate, and I got my black belt in 2008, when I was in 7th grade. Oh yeah, black belt. Y'all watch out. Don't act out. I'll get you. And so when we started calling ourselves warriors, although you don't all have to enroll your kids in karate, that's not what I'm saying. You don't have to do that. Some of them don't need it. They're already pretty feisty. But I thought this was a really good representation of what we're like on the inside. We're kick butt. Like, we deal with so much, and we just keep trucking along. We just keep going. And, you know, when we live our lives and we go home, we leave from here, we are not only reaching normal milestones, and we may not reach those as fast as healthy people, but we're also reaching milestones in our disease, in our journey, whether it's remembering to take our medicine, whether it's scheduling our own doctor's appointments, whether it's going to the doctor, advocating for ourselves, even if it's simply just saying at a young age, I'm too hot, I need to go inside. We are constantly becoming better warriors and better people as a whole. And like I said before, we are having aspects of ourselves that most adults never have. They go to school to get. You can't get this stuff in the school. Now, be that as it may, it's still difficult to be 1 in 70,000. It's lonely. It is. And you may feel alone right now, sitting in this room, especially if this is your first time. It's incredibly overwhelming, and it can be really, really scary. But when you feel alone, you need to remember that this support system, this one right here, it goes from your family and your local community to around the world. And I'm going to show you a little bit of that. In every picture on this screen, there was one person that has Alagille syndrome. There are some people from India. There is one from Guatemala. There are some from Australia. And they are all fighting this battle right along with you. And you may not know them. You may not ever meet them. But you know that they're there. And they're on Facebook groups. They're a part of this in spirit and watching right now, fighting along right with you. And I'm going to tell a few stories about these pictures. If you look in the top right-hand corner, that is my crazy, crazy family. I would not be where I am today without that crazy, loud, sometimes obnoxious family. I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be standing in front of you and have the strength to talk to you about this disease and find the positives. And I know that your families are exactly the same. They're the ones who are there day in and day out for the daily struggles that we face. They're the ones who scratch our back when we can't reach the itch. They're the ones who are there and we come home and we're being teased and they tell us, hey, you're pretty spectacular and it's gonna be all right. And eventually, those people are gonna look at you and you're gonna bring them hope. If you look in the top in the middle, that is Shambhavi. She is from India. She has a law degree, and she's currently getting her master's in London. She is 22 or 23, and she wants to advocate for us. Oh, did I mention she has Alagille syndrome? How amazing is that? She has this disease, and she's going to be able to go and fight for us in a way that we can't even think about right now. And she has this disease, and she's able to do this because she is a warrior. If you look in the top left, that is a young mom. She is new to this disease, and her son was recently diagnosed and has undergone numerous surgeries in his very, very young life. I found her on Instagram, and it was because of a shirt campaign that said 1 in 70,000. She messaged me and told me her story. For those of you who have been told stories, it is one of the most heartbreaking things to hear. And when I got this, I was in class at college, and I had to step out. And then as I was starting to break down, I was messaging her back, and I told her about the Alliance and about you all, about this community. And she went from being alone in this fight to having all of you behind her. This huge community and network that is going to be there to support her and her adorable son through this journey. And that's priceless, and you can't find that just anywhere. If you look in the very middle, that is a very spunky. He's in a washer, in case you can't, or in a dryer, if you can't tell in that picture. Yes, he crawled into the dryer. And he has Alagille syndrome. I've never met his mom. We met through Facebook, and I follow them and her son. Her son loves firemen. He wore a fireman's costume to school for a week because she could not convince him to take it off. Okay? And he has Alagille syndrome. And he's just like every other kid in that he has some really odd quirks. He crawled into a dryer. I mean, come on. But he has a smile just like all of y'all's warriors. They have a smile that can light up the room because that smile, that is despite everything they deal with every day at such a young age. Now, if you look on the right side in the middle, that is Melania. You've probably met Mr. Eddie and Miss Stephanie. They are here. I met them in DC, and I was forever changed. Melania is a spunky, super sweet, sassy little girl, which is why I like her so much. I'm a little sassy myself. And I remember meeting her, and the first thing she told me was, I know every song to Frozen. I know every word. And I was like, oh, girl, gotta show off your skills. And we bonded. Now, she doesn't remember me now, because I'm older now. But I remember she didn't tell me, oh, I have Alagille syndrome. I'm really itchy right now. No, I love Frozen, and I know every song. Like, she was ready to brag about what that girl knew. And she has Alagille syndrome. If you look on the left end, you will see two sisters. Those are the Tomlinsons. They weren't able to be here this time. I met them also in DC. And the blonde has Alagille syndrome, and the redhead is her sister. We bonded at DC because her sister, the redhead, Taylor, is just like my sister, Renee. Although they are fiercely protective, and I do mean fiercely. You heard the story. She'll come get you. She has forever been changed by this disease in a positive way. She has made anti-bullying videos. She advocates for rare diseases. She advocates for her sister. She, along with other siblings that are here right now, they have been made for the better by being with us on this journey. And once again, you can't get that in a college class. You can't get that out of a book. If you look on the bottom left hand, you will see two of those are my young adults. Well, they're not mine, but I like to claim them. They are in my Facebook group, and they are from Australia. They are pretty awesome. They're pretty spectacular. I met them through the Facebook group. We've never met in person. We Skype and we message. And Jordan, the young man, he posts on Instagram pictures of the different things that he has going on with his disease. And he just puts them out there. And he isn't ashamed. He isn't upset by it. He just puts it out there for everyone to see because he has an amazing group of friends and he wants them to forever be changed as well. Now, if you look in the middle and the bottom, that is also another young adult and her best friend. Now, I asked her if I could post this picture, and I said, I would like to post a picture of you. I'd like to bring it to the symposium. I was like, and I would really love it if it could be you and a friend. And so she said this one. And she said, this friend she never knew about Alagille syndrome before she met her, has no history of any kind of rare condition in her family, but has been there for her through it all. And although she doesn't understand, she is there by her side, whether she's itchy, whether it's been a rough day, whether the unknown is consuming her one day. And I have friends like that too, which leads me to the bottom right. So in college, I did college band for 3 years, and this past year, last year I began celebrating Rare Disease Day. And this year I decided I wanted to get my band involved if possible, and which was a big step for me. And so the guy who's taking the selfie, that's Daniel Walker. He was my section leader. And I remember I went up to him and I was like, hey, I'm going to have this rebate night. I would really love it if you guys could come. It's for my disease. And I said, I understand if you can't, but I would really love it if you all come. You can't really tell in that picture. That entire room is packed. And it is racer band members that were current, that I knew. There was alumni that I had never met. There were people in the band who I had never talked to but knew about me from Facebook and from what I was posting around the campus. And they all came, all of them. And I can tell you right now, 95% of them don't even know how to pronounce this. And they don't even know what it is, but they came. They didn't ask questions, and some of them did, but that's okay. They didn't ask questions before they came. They came to show their support and their love and to help raise money so that we can keep meeting, so that we can keep making connections and we don't have to feel alone. So when I say all of this, I truly mean that your support system is not just in this room. It's not just at home. It's not just in your local community. It is all around the world. We are everywhere. You can't get rid of us. We stick around. And that's pretty incredible. So I'm going to end with this. The next time that you're struggling, whether you're a parent, a sibling, a warrior, a family member of some sort, a best friend, and you're feeling alone or you're struggling to ride the waves on your own or with someone, you need to remember that us warriors, we're not just rare in our genetic makeup. We are, but in a way in which we carry ourselves as people and as humans on this earth. We are compassionate and fierce. We're patient but determined. We are loving and strong. And we're going to fight this battle together. Thank you.